They didn't disappear suddenly. They just stopped reaching. Not in a dramatic way. Not with a door slam or a final message. There was no explosion, no confrontation. No moment you could clearly point to and say, this is where it ended. Just a silence that feels settled instead of tense. A silence that doesn't feel like it's waiting for a response. A silence that doesn't feel unfinished. A silence that doesn't carry urgency. That's usually the moment people misread what's happening. Because we're taught to look for conflict when something ends. We expect closure to be loud. We expect distance to come with explanation. But with some people, silence doesn't mean confusion. It means resolution already happened, quietly. Silence is easy to misunderstand, especially if you're still emotionally present. When someone goes quiet, the instinct is to fill the gap with meaning, to assume it's stress, overwhelm, fear, temporary withdrawal. And sometimes, that's true. Sometimes silence is emotional overload. Sometimes it's self-protection. Sometimes it's someone trying to regulate before they re-engage. But sometimes, and this is the part people resist, silence is simply a decision that didn't need to be announced. INFJ and INFP silence is rarely impulsive. It doesn't arrive in the heat of the moment. By the time it shows up externally, something has already been processed internally. Thoughts revisited, emotions examined, patterns reviewed. So if you're waiting for clarity from them, you're often already behind the emotional timeline. Not because you missed a message, but because the real conversation happened somewhere you couldn't hear. Here are 7 signs the silence isn't temporary. It's conclusive. Not dramatic, not cruel, just final in a quiet way. Number 1. The silence feels calm, not reactive. There's no emotional charge behind it. No tension, no volatility, no sense of testing your reaction. Just absence. Reactive silence feels tight. It feels sharp. It feels like it's waiting for something to happen. This silence doesn't. It's smooth, even, almost neutral. That usually means the decision didn't happen during the silence. It happened earlier. The silence is just the outward echo of something already resolved. Number 2. They stopped explaining themselves. INFJs and INFPs explain when they still care about being understood. They clarify, they rephrase, they check whether their meaning landed correctly. Explanation is effort, and effort means investment. When explanations stop, it's not punishment. It's not passive aggression. It's not a strategy. It's detachment. They no longer feel the need to translate their inner world to you. Not because you wouldn't understand, but because understanding is no longer required for their peace. Number 3. There's no curiosity left. They don't ask follow-up questions. They don't check your tone. They don't try to read between the lines. They don't wonder what you meant versus what you said. That internal monitoring, the one INFJs and INFPs naturally do, is switched off. Curiosity disappears when emotional relevance disappears. And that's one of the quietest, clearest indicators that something has ended internally. Number 4. Boundaries appear without discussion. Access quietly changes. Not announced, not negotiated. Response windows shrink. Availability narrows. Emotional access becomes limited, but there's no conversation about it. That's not confusion, that's structure. INFJs and INFPs don't usually need to verbalize boundaries once a decision is made. They simply live inside them. Number 5. Warmth disappears before contact does. They may still reply. They may still be polite, respectful, even kind. But the emotional temperature drops first. The warmth fades before the communication stops. Messages feel flatter, responses feel thinner. The emotional resonance is gone. This is one of the clearest INFJ and INFP shifts people notice too late, because politeness masks finality. Number 6. There's no emotional repair attempt. No revisiting, no clarifying conversation, no circling back, no "we should talk." When INFJs and INFPs still care, they attempt repair, even if awkwardly. They reopen conversations. They revisit misunderstandings. They try to realign emotionally. When that stops, it's because the repair already happened internally, without you. Number 7. The silence doesn't feel unfinished. This is the hardest one to admit. There's no sense of pause, no feeling of "we'll pick this back up," no emotional cliffhanger. It feels like something quietly closed, like a book placed back on the shelf, not thrown away, not burned, just finished. And that feeling is usually accurate. INFJs and INFPs don't leave loudly. They don't need an audience for closure. They leave when the internal narrative resolves. When the story makes sense to them, even if it was never fully spoken out loud. By the time silence becomes visible, the emotional work is already complete. That's why chasing clarity from them often feels pointless. You're not asking for information. You're asking someone to reopen a chapter they already archived. And that request alone confirms the distance. This silence isn't meant to teach you a lesson. It isn't manipulation. It isn't cruelty. It's completion without ceremony. And recognizing that doesn't mean blaming yourself. It means understanding the pattern, so you stop waiting for a response that isn't coming. When silence feels peaceful instead of tense, it usually means the decision didn't need witnesses. And recognizing that is often the moment you stop waiting too.